You know the rules. Please no smoking in this area, and please patronize the performers. Now, I know some of the performers are going to be leaving after this evening's show, so if you're planning on getting CDs, don't wait until tomorrow afternoon after the whole thing's over to get your CDs, because some of these performers are leaving tonight, taking their CDs with them. So if you want to pick up CDs, go ahead and do it tonight. Alrighty. If you've not heard this next lady, you're in for a real treat, I'm sure. We became aware of her 4 years ago, and submitted her name to Roz, and Roz got her here. So, make welcome, Tracy Grammer.
Well, I'm going to continue to sing you songs by Dave Carter, but I'm going to start with a song by Tom Russell. Do you guys know Tom Russell? That's like 3 people, I think. It's funny, because sometimes I say Tom Russell and everybody goes, woo! So let's just pretend we all know Tom Russell. Yeah. You should know Tom Russell. There's your homework. So, anyway, he wrote this great song about a guy in prison and his tattoo. And it's just called Blue Wing. And the 3 people can sing along if they want to. He had a blue wing tattooed on his shoulder. Well, it might have been a bluebird, I don't know. But he gets stone drunk, talks about Alaska. Yeah, the salmon boats and 45 below. He said he got that blue wing out in Walla Walla, and his cellmate there was little Willie John. Oh, and Willie, he was once a great blues singer. Yeah, Winged Willie wrote him up a song. He said it's dark in here, I can't see the sky, but look at this blue wing and I close my eyes and I fly away beyond these walls up above the clouds, where the rain don't fall on a poor man's dream. Well, there broke Blue Wing in August 1963. He moved north picking apples to the town of Wenatchee. When the winter finally caught him in a rundown trailer park on the south side of Seattle, where the days grow gray and dark. Well, he drank and he dreamt of visions where the salmon still ran free, and his father's fathers crossed that wide and wild open Bering Sea. And the land belonged to everyone, and there were old songs yet to sing. Now it's narrowed down to a cheap hotel and a tattooed prison ring. Hey, it's dark in here, I can't see the sky, but look at this blue wing and I close my eyes and I fly away beyond these walls up above the clouds, where the rain don't fall on a poor man's dream. cried. But I dreamt there was a funeral, a preacher and a cheap pine box. And halfway through the service, that blue wing began to talk. He said, it's dark in here, I can't see the sky, but look at this blue wing, and I close my eyes and I fly away beyond these walls up above the clouds, where the rain don't fall on a poor man's dream, on a poor man's dream, on a poor man's dream. Russell, we love him, don't we? All right, back to the dark and ponderous stuff. Back to the wordy songs that Nashville has no use for. Back to a song that I have no idea what it's about. Just like the way it feels to sing it. Gary, I wonder if you can brighten the vocal up here just a little bit. That would be great. Alright, this one's called Shadows of Evangeline, and if someone does have a revelation about this song, I will welcome that after the set. What I can tell you it's not about is the myth of Evangeline. People have tried to pull that academic card, and that didn't work. I read the poem, it's not that. So, we'll keep working on it. It is rain, it is age, it is poison, supplication to family on earth. Little children with keys to the temple, red lights and silver dimes. It's waiting for a sun that pushes but seldom shines, living and dying in the shadow of Evangeline. She's young like her mama before her, put up tired at the end of her labors, true believing and ever desiring, quit shows and check-out lines, in porch light halo ringed about, bright moss and hanging vines. She cast an ever-changing shadow of in the bang and the crash of the factory, in a hot cutting season of metal, on the floor of an ocean of contracts, skin drums and shrunken heads, strange dances long undone go stamping in between the lines. Old gods in I want to play for you now the very first song I ever heard Dave Carter play. It was in Portland, Oregon in 1996. I had just moved there on the strength of a premonition that I'd had in a pizza place the previous fall. I was visiting Portland, Oregon. I had a boyfriend at the time. His name was Dave. He was Dave number 2 in a series of 3. All done with Daves now. And anyway, he and I met at UC Berkeley, where I went to school, to get a degree in English, and boy, that's been useful. But, well, the worst part is it took me 8.5 years to get that BA, and I was like, yes, now what? But anyway, so Dave number 2 he got his degree in environmental engineering in just a wee 4 years, and got himself a real job in the world, and they gave him a temporary transfer up to Portland, Oregon, because he was a water guy. He was in water, and they got a lot of it up there, so they hired him to come walk around in the sewers and take samples and look at nutria, which are those giant rats that live down there, the stuff of horror movies, and he invited me up for a visit. Not to see the nutria, but just to see the town. And so I went up there. It was fall. It was beautiful. Portland, Oregon in the fall is a gorgeous place. But of course, it's nothing like the East Coast. I mean, let's face it. But for someone who had grown up along the West Coast, to see Portland in the fall was a glorious thing. And so we're sitting in this pizza place. It's called Pizzicato Pizza, because where else is a violin player going to eat but Pizzicato Pizza? And we're in this sort of hip and trendy quadrant of town, because Portland, Oregon is divided into quadrants by the river that runs through it, the Willamette River. Don't say Willamette, they'll know you're from out of town. It's Willamette. And then all these bridges that crisscross that river. So we were up in the northwest section of town, which at the time was the cool place to go. Now if you visit, go to northeast. It's happening over in northeast now. But so Dave number 2 gets up to pay the check, and I'm looking out the window onto the street there, Northwest 23rd Avenue, and like the Christmas lights are all up in the trees, and it's just starting to get dark, and people are running around in their wool clothes with their big scarves on, and their boots, and there's little tiny stars, little red leaves on the ground, and people are kind of slipping and sliding, and everything's a little bit moist, because it's always a little moist in Portland, Oregon. But everybody looks happy, and it just looks hip and fun, and I think to myself, I really like to live here. Wow, this looks good. And as I'm looking out the window, this voice comes up behind me. It sounds like a person. In fact, when I hear this voice, I wheel around to see if there's a body attached to it, but it's not. And the voice comes to me, and it says just 2 words as I'm looking out that window. It says, "He's here." I spin around, there's nobody there. I think, well, that's odd. So I go back to ogling all the people who are walking by on 23rd Avenue, and the voice comes again with more information. It says, "He's here in Northwest Portland." I get this chill up my spine, and just for good measure, I turn around and look at Dave number 2 on the off chance that he might be the he that the he is talking about. But I realize that no, that's not, this is bigger than that. This is bigger than that. And I think I mentioned I was born on the tip of Florida, the southern tip, in Homestead Air Force Base, and my mom used to always remind me, she said, honey, you might have special powers. And I said, well, why do you think that? And she said, well, you were born just inside one of the corners of the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know if that means it can conjure, like, random voices, but anyway, so I got this message. Didn't know what to do with it. Went back to Berkeley, finished up that 8.5-year program in English literature. And I thought, oh, whatever shall I do now that I'm done with my degree? I really should leave Berkeley. I've been here long enough, so why don't I go to Portland, because he's there. even though I already had a he, I was, you know, we were in that pre-breakup phase, you know, starting to break up, like the first of 6 breakups that you're going to do before you really call it off. So I moved to Portland. I have no job, I have no savings, I have no plan, I have no place to live. I go there, Dave number 2 drives me up, and we fight like cats and dogs the whole way, and I think, oh, this isn't going to go well. But on the first day, I get an apartment. And by the end of the week, I'm employed. Boy, those were different times. And 3 weeks later, Dave number 2 and I have sort of patched things up, and I didn't mention that he and I played music together. We had a band called Juicy at one time. And, yeah. And so we go to this, it wasn't folk, I'll just tell you that. And, so we go to this Tuesday night Portland Songwriters Night at the Buffalo Gap in Portland, Oregon. And basically what it turns out, Songwriters Night at the Buffalo Gap is 2 songs on the stage under the lights plugged in. Then you get off and go back and drink beer with your friends and talk loudly as the next act gets up and plays 2 songs plugged in real loud under the lights. Nobody listens, nobody cares, but everybody wants to get on the stage at some point, no matter what. So we go and we do that, and we're part of the mix of things, and I'm new in town, so I'm getting introduced to everybody, and it's really fun. But towards the end of the night, all this carousing and all this clanking of glasses and laughter and pretty much shouting by this point is happening, and in through the swinging doors of the Buffalo Gap comes a cowboy. I think it's a real-life cowboy. I mean, he's got a cowboy hat, he's wearing a jean jacket, he's got an end-of-the-trail belt buckle about the size of a small dinner plate, he's wearing boot-cut jeans with boots that you'd swear have, like, dust on them from the dusty trail that he just rode in on, even though it's Portland, it's probably raining outside. In one hand, a jumbo Taylor guitar, in the other hand, a pack of papers. And as this guy comes through the swinging doors, which don't actually exist at the Buffalo Gap right now, but I think when I write the book they will. And there'll probably be some like sawdust on the floor too. But he comes in through the swinging doors, and as he makes his way along the edge of the room towards the stage, sort of nodding at everybody and smiling in this quiet way that he has, everybody starts to get quiet. And I hear these whispers start up, and everyone's saying, "There's Dave, there's Dave, there's Dave, there's Dave." And I'm sitting with Dave number 2, and he elbows me, and he goes, "Oh, that's Dave Carter." And I said, "Yeah? What's with the cowboy outfit?" And he goes, "This guy wins all the song contests." And I kind of look at my Dave right then. I feel sorry for him, because can't you tell he's jealous? He's totally jealous. He says, "This guy sounds just like Lyle Lovett."